this look like a city of 200,000 people without any modern technology, power tools, automatic?
Okay, but keep in mind, this is a cathedral. This is a cathedral. This is another church. Like, 50% of all these fucking buildings are churches, dude. Like, 50%. There's so much less people crammed in here. It's like, okay, like, one family probably lives in this fucking house, dude. Like, one.
Manufacturing, electric motors, a people in a strange, unfounded land, just making their mark. Do we really believe that a burgeoning people built this entire city in just 30 years? And again, such quietness, such stillness. This is a photograph of an empty city. Where are all the people?
There's someone literally right there. I'm gonna fucking shit myself.
This is a photograph of an empty city. Where are...
Right here. There is a person on a horse right there.
Are all the people? The shadow of the post here tells us that it is not the early hours of the morning. Short shadows only appear toward midday. A city of this scale at noon should be bustling with life.
Not if everybody's at work or at church. What if these pictures were taken on Sunday when everyone was in church?
But there is not a single person in the shot of this panorama. The only life we see is that of a horse without any master in sight.
Bro.
It seems highly unlikely that all the people were told to stay indoors because a cityscape photo shoot was taking place.
They didn't need to be told.
Becomes all the more eerie when we consider that
there needs to be a marathon to prove there are people in the city. Very true. I don't believe. If you tell me there's 300,000 people living in Chicago, I don't believe it because I can't see them right now. You know, I just walked to the liquor store. I only saw like 7 people. Therefore, only 7 people live in the city. It's 8 p.m. There should be 5 million people in the streets right now.
And for what? And what are the chances that in the 19th century...
Yeah, but my streets are not in the basement.
Russian,
I went to the
European,
liquor store.
And North American cities photographed like this. And then only a few years later, we find the same locations bustling with people. A people clearly incapable of building the architecture found in these cities.
A picture clearly not taken on a Sunday during church service.
What to do with these photographs? If we accept the narrative and these strange anomalies, then we stop here and get back to our busy lives.
If you were a fucking photographer that just wanted pictures of the city, obviously you would take them while everyone is at church.
And their early ancestors could not have built the magnificent architecture we see. It is an impossibility.
Wow.
Come on, jump in.
Checkmate me. I guess I've been checkmated.
There must be some clues waiting to be uncovered that helps us understand why these cities are empty. Wait, what's that you say? You want to wipe the mud from your boots first? Do not bother. It's a waste of time. Come on, jump in and let's go. For it is the mud that offers us some small clues.
I cannot believe
during this time period
that we do not have a single check on our fucking bingo card yet. I'm going to scream.
In June 2011, Christchurch, New Zealand, suffered an earthquake that left a lot of the city in chaos.
Oh no.
Destroying buildings and infrastructure and leaving over 50,000 homes.
They probably made God angry.
As a result,
or something.
There were collapsed houses, ruptured water mains, flooding, and fires due to disrupted electrical lines. Due to the strong ground motions and intense shaking, part of the city experienced a strange phenomenon known as soil liquefaction. Sand boils emerge from asphalt roads, toppling and sinking cars, and causing boulders to fall from hills, resulting in more home damage.
Okay.
Soil liquefaction occurs when saturated soil loses its strength and stiffness in response to an applied stress, such as shaking, or other sudden changes, such as a strong explosion.
Okay.
Loose, saturated soil or sand has a tendency to compress when a load is applied. But in the event of a stress, such as shaking or an explosion, we see the opposite. The soil tends to dilute, and the result is treacherous quicksand or quick clay. The land turns to liquid, causing structures of heavy mass, such as buildings, infrastructure, and cars, to start sinking, topple over, or collapse. It can also affect dams and bridges. Turbidity currents can also form huge landslides that are impossible to stop. In the worst case scenario, entire cities may be destroyed. As you can see, liquefaction can move entire areas of land. The mud can rise dramatically and rapidly.
Oh no, are we gonna get mud flood?
It is a well-documented phenomenon. The 1964 earthquake in Nagata, Japan caused liquefaction, and we can see the effects very clearly in these photos. The same here with the 1964 Alaska earthquake. Buildings toppling, cars sinking, infrastructure collapsing.
Excuse me.
Once the stress has subsided, the soil begins to solidify once again, and we can see the aftermath. Uneven, muddy streets remain where there was once road paving. Returning to photographs of 19th century cities, we see a similar situation here. The roads are unrefined and full of mud. We see unsophisticated, uneven, coarse, and muddy roads everywhere against a backdrop of refined, sophisticated, and magnificent architecture. Could these cities have suffered the similar fate of soil liquefaction that we see in more recent times? Perhaps. But unfortunately, muddy roads is not enough evidence to base any conclusions on, is it? Children are
no, it's really not. It's you know, it's really not enough to base your fucking flat Earth theory on muddy roads. Thank you for agreeing with me.
In their foggy stupor, usually provide
Rick and Morty character here.
Often regurgitating learned nonsensical information that lead the child's
imagination.
Yes,
school bad. I know. I agree with you. School bad. We did a whole stream on school bad like last week.
Why did they build the windows so
not
into
even.
the ground?
Because there are basements in there? Oh, why did God build Seamus's window so low to the ground? Oh, what's happening? I don't know. I'll have to ask God why he built my window so fucking low to the ground. Because tiny people. God, I'm so bigoted against the tiny people.
Yes, why indeed did they build windows?
My window literally starts here.
For you see, the people we see in these photographs, sadly, did not build this architecture. And maybe some of them, at some point in their busy day-to-day life, ask the exact same question. We see it everywhere. Windows at ground level.
Windows at ground level. Almost as if people have
windows
basements.
Below ground level.
Almost as if people have basements.
First floor entrances raised from the ground level.
Almost as if it's to create half room for the fucking basements. Are you joking? Are you telling me that you don't think that fucking basements exist, bro? Like, you don't understand. Basements. You can't dig into the flat Earth because you just can't. God said so.
Steps leading down to entrances below ground level.
The basement.
We can find this in almost every major city across our realm. In both old photographs and when we walk in the streets today.
Yeah, because there's basements.
That a society with access to modest construction tools and horse and car constructed their infrastructure by first spending countless amounts of hours and energy clearing land with a depth of over 3 meters to begin their construction?
Yes! It's literally called laying the foundation. Holy shit. You think they just say, okay, this is a good patch of mud, let's put some fucking wood down. They don't do that. You have to dig in a little bit.
Building basement floors is incredibly hard work.
How many times can I dislike this video?
Large-powered excavation machines,
please,
such as backhoes and front-end loaders, have reduced the time and manpower needed to dig a basement dramatically, as compared to digging by hand with a spade. Perhaps you could say that our historical ancestors were just...
Are you an architect or God?
And you can say that many of the
but like,
we see are actually due to elevation.
You know, I guess you got me there.
Landscape. The official narrative, which is always full of inconsistencies.
They just put the bricks on top of the dirt. It doesn't matter if that makes the building uneven. It's fine.
When we look at photographs such as this, it immediately dawns upon us that what we are seeing are windows and doors 2 to 3 meters below the ground surface.
Because buildings sink over time. You know, there's an entire fucking like sub-layer of many cities that has been paved over that is just like full-ass buildings down there. Like, Chicago has a whole fucking sub-city down there that no one goes into, well, except for the mole people.
Doors underground.
I use that term derogatorily, not as a species.
What is it that we see in our cities? Natural soil accumulation over time? Geologists have never been able to ascribe a consistent value to worldwide natural topsoil accumulation.
Because it's different everywhere in the world.
Because it is impossible. Some regions of our realm experience consistent topsoil accumulation, whereas other regions actually experience consistent erosion.
This mythical sub-city.
And archaeologists have noted that many cities over the centuries have been destroyed by war, and natural phenomena such as earthquakes.
I have not been into it, but I know people who have been into it, yes.
Aren't these just the layers of previous civilizations?
They lied, bro.
No.
I was going to stream Minecraft, but now Zep is too busy bullying me in my chat to do so. That's what I'm here for. Okay, yes, buildings do slowly sink into the soft ground. You've got me.
You see, what lies beneath is not the unfamiliar traces of previous generations.
Wait, are you saying that the buildings just keep going?
Once you really see this kind of sunken, buried infrastructure that exists in such prevalence across our world, you can never unsee it.
Why would I unsee it?
We see that the foundations of old churches are actually the original first floors, with consistent entrances and windows.
Yeah, we know that. We literally know that buildings sink. We know.
We see mosaics on
They're heavy.
We see pillars, columns and arches that were originally much larger, and it was the layer of soil that reduced their size, as if they weren't big enough to begin with.
Oh, it's like he's just discovered object permanence.
And like with the 1964 earthquake in Nagata, Japan, we also find many so-called ancient structures that are leaning, as if at some point the soil beneath these structures loosened and liquefied.
Almost as if they're slowly sinking.
And Our Dear Lady at the Mountain Church
Oh
Tower
man, you're so close to making like a good informative video about like topsoil erosion.
The Leaning Temple of
or accumulation rather. There's no curve in Minecraft. That's true. If you get to the ice wall and you climb over it, you actually just find a new chunk.
And, of course, the Tower of Pisa. The official liars of the world try to justify
the official liars of the world.
Filling our heads with stories of antiquity and
I'm just an unofficial liar of the world.
Them, we turn our attention to
I think official liars of the world would be a good band name.
America. If we are to believe their narrative, then all of the buildings we see in 19th century photographs of the burgeoning American cities are newly constructed.
Yeah, that looks pretty new to me.
Why do we see famous structures, such as the Washington Capitol building, with consistent infrastructure that buries very deep into the ground?
Because they built it into the ground. Where is the entrance there? There isn't one.
Why would an underdeveloped people waste resources, energy, and time constructing the foundations of the Capitol building to be consistent with the column style we find above the surface?
Because you use less material when you build the foundation that way. Are you joking?
Foundations did not have to feature columns. Columns, we are told,
those aren't columns.
Choice, not a functional one.
They're just cutouts. And columns are a functional choice, motherfucker.
We see images that suggest that the people of the 19th century were actually concerned with moving a lot of the vast amount of mud we see, leveling the ground and excavating existing structures.
Yeah. It is, yeah, we live on Minecraft, actually. Notch, we haven't even gotten to the crazy shit.
The consistency.
What are support beams? Why would God need to make support beams?
Despite regional differences in natural topsoil accumulation and erosion. And there is no official narrative.
This is not even the crazy shit yet. It can't be, because we haven't even started talking about how the Earth is flat. Oh, there's too much mud. I don't think there should be this much mud, therefore the Earth is flat. Who are you?